Alright class, take your seats. Today we're going to cover the DSM-5 changes in diagnostic support for substance use, abuse, and dependence, with the help of our very own stunt mouse Mortimer. I hear the photo shoot was a real trip.
A little off color, Professor.
Well, yes, we have a lot to get through, Jerome, so if you would just please and hold your comments till the end of... Yes, here we are. Now, the essential feature of a substance abuse disorder is a cluster of cognitive, behavioral, and psychological symptoms indicating the individual continues using the substance despite significant substance-related problems. These diagnoses are now based on pathological patterns of behaviors, and the threshold for diagnosis is set at 2 or more criteria, instead of the DSM-4 criteria of 1 or more for abuse and 3 or more for dependence. Let's review the criteria, shall we? Now, criteria 1 through 4 represent impaired control over substance use. Jerome, can we zoom in for the doctors following on at home? Brilliant. We live in the future. All right, now, these first 2 criteria are the most likely that you will see with your patients. Now, criteria 1, substance, is often taken in larger amounts or over a longer period of time than was intended. Now, while our friend Mortimer finds the lure of cheese to be his particular anathema, you may wish to picture a patient who was prescribed Vicodin or some similar controlled substance, to be taken only as needed after a minor procedure for a very short period of time. The original script is for 10 days, and the patient is to take it only as needed, but for some reason it is now 6 months later, and the patient is still taking the medication, and someone has written refills for it over and over. This patient is taking this medication for far longer than was originally intended. Criteria 2. There is a persistent desire or unsuccessful efforts to cut down or control substance use. Your patient resists your efforts to cut down the dosage of whatever it is he or she is taking, or to come off the controlled substance onto, say, ibuprofen or some other non-controlled analgesic. Or the patient refuses to try another form of treatment, such as massage or physical therapy. Now, in your patient population, these top 2 criteria are the most likely statements that you will document in your notes in support of a substance use, abuse, or dependence diagnosis. And you must support any use, abuse, or dependence diagnosis with such statements in your progress notes. Criteria 3. A great deal of time is spent in activities necessary to obtain substance, use substance, or recover from its effects. Criteria 4. Craving or a strong desire or urge to use the substance. Now, criteria 5 through 7 involve social impairment. Criteria 5. Recurrent substance use resulting in a failure to fulfill major role obligations at work, school, or home. Criteria 6. Continued substance use despite having persistent or recurrent social or interpersonal problems caused or exacerbated by the effects of substance. And criteria 7. Important social, occupational, or recreational activities are given up or reduced because of substance use. Criteria 8 and 9 involve risky use of substance. Criteria 8. Recurrent substance use in situations in which it is physically hazardous. Criteria 9. Substance use is continued despite knowledge of having a persistent or recurrent physical or psychological problem that is likely to have been caused or exacerbated by substance. Criteria 10 and 11 are pharmacological in nature. Criteria 10, tolerance, as defined by either of the following. A need for markedly increased amounts of the substance to achieve intoxication or desired effect. Or B, a markedly diminished effect with continued use of the same amount of substance. Criteria 11. Withdrawal as manifested by either of the following. A. The characteristic withdrawal syndrome for substance. Or B. The substance is taken to relieve or avoid withdrawal symptoms. The severity of the condition is based upon the number of symptom criteria. Mild will be 2 to 3 symptoms. Moderate, 4 to 5 symptoms. Severe, 6 or more symptoms. Now, please note, ladies and gentlemen, that Mortimer is a trained professional, and at no point in this photo shoot was he in any real danger. Though I have been told he did have quite the Parmesan-induced sneezing fit after the Scarface shoot. We can't all be as Gouda as Pacino, now can we? Well, until next time, this is Professor Moriarty with your MRA Minute. These links will take you to the ICD-10 CM Guidelines, the 2017 crosswalk of codes to HCC and RxHCC categories, and to the most current listing of ICD-10 CM codes on the CMS site. Please feel free to muck about in them for clarification and further edification.